Chapter 4: Indian Residential Schools. In Canada, 130 residential schools existed from 1884 to 1996. The last school closed its doors in 1996. In this chapter, we will discuss what is a residential school, what was the purpose of these schools, and do you know anyone who has attended a residential school? Residential schools are run by various religious groups or the government. They were designed for acculturation and to assimilate First Nations children. Acculturation is a change as a result of contact with other cultural groups. Assimilation is a process by which a culture or individual is absorbed into the dominant culture because of its overwhelming influence. Many times children were forcibly removed from their homes, and if parents objected, they were jailed or fined. Children learned how to pray, often in another language. They learned how to sew garments and how to farm the lands. Imagine you're taken from your parents at the age of 5. You lose your language, your loss of culture, your hair is cut, you are a number and not a name. You are punished for speaking the only language you know. You're not allowed to speak your First Nations language or play the games that you learned at home. This is what assimilation looked like, taking the Indian out of the child. Because of the distance between residential schools, children did not have contact with their parents for long periods of time. They stayed at the school, often for longer than 10 months at a time. Children were not allowed to play the games they learned at home, and if they did break the rules, severe punishment was often the result. On Wednesday, June 11, 2008, Prime Minister Stephen Harper made a statement of apology to former students of Indian residential schools on the behalf of the Government of Canada. Let's recap what we learned about Indian residential schools. Can you recall 2 things the children lost at these schools? If you said the children lost their culture and language, you're right. Can you recall 2 things the children learned at these schools? If you said the children learned how to pray and sew, you're correct. Great work. This last slide is that of my family. My mother, a U of A graduate, my daughters, my aunt, my niece, my sister, and myself, all graduates. This is what residential school survivors can look like. I hope you enjoyed this slide, and I hope you